Hello, dear students. Hope you all are well. Myself, Gaganpreet Kaur, and today in this subject, economics, we will study about the government budget and the economy. In the previous video, we have done the concept of government budget, objectives of government budget, and we also completed with the structure of the government budget, as it includes revenue receipts and capital receipts. We completed what constituents of revenue receipts, type of taxes, direct and even indirect. So now, continuing with the difference. As in the previous video, we have done that what is the meaning of direct tax and indirect tax. Now let's understand the difference between these two type of taxes. As direct tax is what which is charged directly on the person who has earned the income. On the other hand, indirect tax is what it is charged or imposed on a person who has manufactured or produced the goods, but this burden can be shifted to the ultimate consumer. So let's understand this. The first point is, it is the tax which is finally paid by the person on whom it is legally imposed, means the person who earns has to pay. On the other hand, in indirect tax, it is the tax which is imposed on one person but is paid by the another. That means that the liability to pay the tax in this, like in indirect tax, is of the manufacturer, but it is collected from the consumer. Second point, the burden of direct tax cannot be shifted to the other person. In this, the burden cannot be shifted, means if I am earning, then I will have to pay the tax only. On the other hand, the burden of indirect tax can be shifted to others. The burden can be shifted from manufacturer to the consumer legally. The third point, direct tax are generally progressive in nature. As we have studied the meaning of progressive and regressive, as if the income is high, then the tax will be paid at a higher rate. This is what happened in progressive tax system, right? Then in indirect taxes, indirect taxes are generally of regressive nature, which means same rate is to be charged or to be paid whether the person is a rich person or a poor person. So indirect tax follows regressive system, and direct taxes follow progressive system by nature. So I hope the meaning between these two type of taxes is clear to all. Now let's talk about another topic known as non-tax receipts, because we are studying receipts now, budget receipts. So non-tax receipts, these are revenue receipts also. Non-tax receipts are those receipts which arise from the source other than taxes. And in the above points, we studied all the points which were relating to the taxes. Right? Tax receipts we have studied, revenue receipts we are studying, we have studied tax receipts. So these were tax receipts. So what are non-tax receipts? Non-tax receipts are those receipts which arise from sources other than taxes. So examples, some of the non-tax receipts are, number one, like fees. A fees is a payment to the government for the services that it renders to the people. It is a fees which is paid by the public, like us, to the government. For what? For the services provided by the government. For example, like land registration fees we have to pay, birth and death registration fees, passport fees, court fees, etc. So, fees is not a payment or a price for commercial service. It is a payment for administrative and judicial services which is provided by the government to the public. So, who pay the fees? We, us, or I can say the general public pay the fees to the government for the services provided by the government. Second is fines. Fines are those payments which are made by the law breakers to the government. For example, if you jump a red light, you are fined. That is a government receipt. So these are economic punishment for breaking the laws. The third point is cheat. So what does it mean? Cheat refers to that income of state which arises out of the property left by the people without a legal heir. Like if a person having property on his name, that person dies without any legal heir or any legal representative or any nominee, then what will happen? Then that property of that person will automatically pass to the government. So this is known as escheat. The government makes revenue out of these kind of properties. So that is why it is a non-tax receipt for the government. Fourth one is special assessment. Special assessment is that payment which is made by the owners of those properties whose value has appreciated due to development activities of the government. Like it is a special income of the government which the government may charge. Why government may charge? Due to development activities carried out in the area you reside or you work. For example, when as a result of construction of the roads or sewerage system, construction of the drains, etc., these all value your property, increase the value of your property. So government may charge or government may recover from you as a part of developmental expenditure from the owners of such properties whose value has been increased by the development by the government. Fifth point is income from public enterprises. Like several enterprises are owned by the government, we know, like Indian Railways, Nangal Fertilizers Factory, Bhilai, etc. We all know there are many PSU, like public sector undertakings, which are owned by the government. So profit of these enterprises, whose revenue? It is of government's revenue. Sixth point, income from the sale of spectrum like 2G and 3G. Even nowadays you can also say 4G, right? So when the government sells, or we can say like the government sold license for 4G network to operate in India, so whose income is this? Obviously it is government income because government allowed 4G network to be operated in India. So sale of the spectrums like 2G, 3G, 4G, and now maybe the 5G will also come. So allowing the spectrum like this, the government charge the fees, government sell the license for these networks. So this is how government earns income, known as non-tax receipt of the government. Next is grants and donations. Grants are also a source of the government revenue. It is very common for the people to offer donations and grants to the government. Like firstly, donation means people or general public is donating money to the government. That is donation. For example, like nowadays people are contributing, or I can say donating money for what? For PM's Prime Minister Care Fund relating to COVID-19 patients, for helping those patients. So this is also government's income, like grants and donations, which is given by the people, or we can say the general public of the country. So these were the non-tax receipts. So till here, the government's receipt, the budget was divided, budget receipts were divided into two parts, revenue receipts and the capital receipts. So we are done with the revenue receipts. Now continuing with the other receipts, that is capital receipts. So what are capital receipts? It has two characteristics. The number one characteristic of the capital receipt is these receipts create a liability for the government. These receipts create a liability for the government. For example, government takes loan from RBI, that is Reserve Bank of India, or I can say World Bank also, and from the other countries. So the government, these are the liabilities for the government. These loans which government has taken from RBI, World Bank or other countries, these are what? These are liabilities for the government, and government have to pay it back after a certain period or duration of time. Thus, when the government receives this loan, it is called capital receipt, but it creates a liability. Obviously, government has to pay back, na? Otherwise, it is not like the government. If government has availed loan, government government can never pay the loan. No, government has to repay it. So that is why these are those capital receipts which create a liability for the government. Secondly, these receipts cause reduction in the assets of the government. How? As let's take an example, like other source of funds for the government is what? For the other source of fund for the government is to sell the shareholding in PSU. PSU yani ki public sector undertakings. Obviously, this is government's right to sell. So government can sell the shares of the shareholding of the PSUs, like public sector undertakings. For example, if government sells shares of the Air India, it will cause a reduction in the assets of the government. Obviously, government, if the government will sell the shares, the government asset is reduced, and the amount received by the government on such sale of the share is called capital receipt. So I hope the meaning is clear. So in short, capital receipts are those money receipts of the government which either create a liability for the government or cause a reduction in the assets. As in the 2 points, either create a liability or cause reduction in the asset of the company. These receipts will be regarded as capital receipts. Now, these capital receipts of the government budget can be classified into 3 categories. These 3 categories are, the number 1 is recovery of the loans. Secondly, borrowings and other liability, and third is other receipts. So starting with the first category of the capital receipt, recovery of the loans. The central government offer loan to the state government to cope with the financial crisis. Like nowadays, in COVID, central government is offering loan to the state government, like to the Punjab and to any other states also, so that the states can cope with this financial crisis. So when these loans are recovered from the states, assets of the government are reduced. Accordingly, these are classified as capital receipts. Secondly, borrowings and other liabilities. This we have discussed in the above points. Borrowing create a liability for the government because government has to repay it. Once the government borrow, like in this point, when the government borrow, it creates a liability for the government. So this is about those borrowings. We have studied this. And even the disinvestment. Next is bete, this is the important one. A difference between the revenue receipts and the capital receipts. As we have done the both the type of receipts, revenue receipts and the capital receipts. So what is the difference between these two? The first is in the meaning. Revenue receipts do not impact assets or liability status of the government. Like we know, these have asset and liability, these have no effect on the asset or the liabilities of the government. Revenue receipts have no effect on the assets or liabilities of the government. On the other hand, capital receipts have an effect on the assets and liabilities of the government. Assets are decreased and liabilities are increased in capital receipts. Like example of loan, you can see when government borrow loan from the RBI or the World Bank, then what happens? Then the liability of the government increases. And if I talk about the when the government sell its share, like in Air India as example, what happened there? Obviously government asset reduced because government sold the shares of the Air India company. If the government sold the share of the Air India company, then what happened? The asset of the government reduced. So in capital receipt, what happens? Assets are decreased and liabilities are increased. Second difference is in significance. Point number 1 here. Revenue receipts are current income and they do not earn a liability for the future. So revenue receipts do not leave any burden on the future generations. But in case of capital receipts, they often leave a burden on future generations. Like these create liabilities for our future generation, as a loan with interest have to be repaid in future. So that is why capital receipts create a liability or a burden on the future generations. B point. High revenue receipts like tax receipts point to sound financial health of the economy. Like obviously it is a sign of good financial health when you earn high revenue receipts. And on the other hand, capital receipts, high capital receipts, borrowings and disinvestment point to poor financial health of the economy. So this is it for today in this video, bete. In the next video, we'll study about the budget expenditure, which is also categorized as revenue expenditure and capital expenditure. As far now, we have completed with the budget receipts. These were categorized into two categories, revenue receipts and the capital receipts. Thank you.